I just coming to check, see if I can pick up a few pointers from Kevin.
I'm blushing.
Got any tips and tricks, Kevin?
No, I'm more of a listener when Todd's in the room.
No. Kevin's one of those awesome finds that you just have to sometimes put a spotlight on people and then watch them flourish. So that's exactly what's happened with Kevin. So
I appreciate it tremendously, Todd. Thank you.
Yep.
Oh yeah. We're also live on Twitter, so if you guys are watching on Twitter, make sure you join discord.gg/McFarlane. You guys can come here in the Discord and ask some questions and watch Kevin Keane's awesome live drawing. What do you got? Ooh, that's a beautiful sketch. What do you got cooked up for us?
Just a little bit of king spawn.
Hell yeah.
Giving him a nice little crown just because he's a badass. So we're going to play around with some techniques on this one for fun and see what we get. Hopefully I can get a bunch done to it in a nice swift amount of time. So
that is the problem, isn't it? I don't know how you talk and draw. That's impressive. I'm going to go ahead and start bringing up some people for questions, if that's all right with you, Kevin.
Rock and roll. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. I definitely have some questions for myself, but we'll give the audience the spotlight. What's going on, Mbul? Welcome to stage.
What's going on? Hey, Kevin, thanks for doing this.
My pleasure, dude.
Two quick questions. How's your music going?
Oh, that's an awesome question to receive at the beginning. Thank you. Really good. Yeah, really, really good. I'm getting ready to get we recently recorded an album last year, at the end of last year. We finished up. It should be out at the very end of this month. So if any of you are a Perfect Circle or Tool fans, be sure to check it out. I'd really appreciate it and get your thoughts. But yeah, that's and then we're getting ready to write a new EP then shortly after. So it's nice to be back playing music again.
Awesome. And then I was just your Formula One so far. I think you could go a little bit.
Hold on 1 second, dude.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just curious your thoughts on Formula One so far. I know that you're a fan, so I was just curious.
Yeah, very interesting season so far. Are you following it yourself?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. It's a very interesting season so far. I feel really good. I feel really good that Oscar Piastri is doing so good, because I've been kind of looking at him since he was a rookie as the next kind of one to watch. So I feel vindicated every time he gets on pole and gets a win. Whoops. So I'm very, very, very happy with how that's going.
Is it your pick to win it all, or is that just your favorite
I would love.
driver?
I would love to see Oscar winning it this year. I would love to see Oscar coming out swinging. That said, I'm a McLaren fan, so as long as they do good, I'm happy.
Nice.
What about Brad Pitt? What do you think of Brad
Oh
Pitt?
yeah, the movie.
Yeah, the new F1 movie coming
I
up.
can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Like it's the old crusty vet going against the young Turk. I mean, but they're on the same team, right?
Yeah.
So they sort of years ago there was a movie in baseball called Bull Durham that was sort of the same thing. That the old guy had to sort of school the young kid, but the young kid was a little bit undisciplined.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how this one all plays out. So.
I mean, what's cool about F1 is that it happens like that all the time in reality. You know, often the young gun kind of comes in and they either sink or swim. You know, it's that simple. You know, Max Verstappen has been in the sport maybe 7-8 years now, but he's a 4-time champion. Not many people have done that. So
I think sometimes in Hollywood and movies, I think they overthink titles, right? I'm a big fan of one word stuff and whatever, but so they're not calling this like Speed of Heart or you know Thrill of Victor or what, like it's just called F1, like, and from that title, you're either going to go, I'm in or I'm out, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
done.
I think they nailed it. I really do. I think they nailed it, and I think Brad's a good choice too. He kind of fits. He has a good look for an F1 driver. He fits the bill very nicely.
Yeah, my son, who's a big F1 fan, said too that they were using the same tracks. They were filming on the tracks right after an event, so it was still all set up. And they said, "Hey, can you guys just keep it like that for 3-4 days so we can do a little bit of shooting here?" So they're not. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of computer generated stuff, but they were trying to use as much reality in that film as possible. And if you go and like look at the trailer that's out right now, again, you can see it. Maybe they have to computer generate some crowds or something, but otherwise, it looks pretty good.
They were filming in Silverstone in England and Austria last year during the actual events, and I think they were in Singapore too, and they had to delay their filming because unexpectedly they were kind of planning that if any of the cars were to crash or have any trouble, that they could delay things, but they ended up being a lot more crashes than expected, and it delayed things really, really badly. So that didn't help. I'm sure the people involved in their accounting weren't too happy about that.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I've got a question for you. I'm going to cut in front here a bit. Going back to your art, given you've got a character like a Batman or a Spawn or something, these characters that hang around in the shadows, right? How do you determine where you're going to put your blacks when you're dealing with moody pieces, or you just, depending on your design as a whole, you go, this one I can go 80% black because it feels like it. And other ones you go, there's a lot of energy and glow or spotlight or the bat symbol or something, so I gotta brighten it up or whatever. So that piece you're doing right now, you could go either direction if you want it, right?
You could, yeah, you could. I generally like to place a light source in, just I guess from my own brain, just to have a kind of an anchor point. But I guess it comes down to the image, really. It comes down to the image that you're working on and what it's kind of telling you. I don't know why my machine is so slow all of a sudden, but it comes down to like what the piece is kind of saying. In my opinion, it will reveal itself about halfway through that it needs lots of blacks or lots of shading, and then most of the other times, like, you know what, that's clear, that does its job. So I guess it comes down to what I'm trying to go for. With this, it's kind of a wham, a big kind of splashy image. So I think the green glow in his hand is going to create a nice up light source. So we'll be placing all the shades, here and here, kind of facing away from the light. That's kind of my idea. And then we'll just make that light as dramatic as possible using nice glowy textures and stuff. So again, it's kind of a case by case basis, in my opinion. I don't particularly think about it too much until I arrive at that stage.
So one more question, and I'll let the other folks get in. So I shouldn't hog the time here. So obviously you don't live in North America, so I'm always curious as like how other sort of non-Marvel, non-DC characters travel. You've got big things like Walking Dead, obviously at Image, and Spawn to some degree. You've got things like Hellboy, things that Frank Miller's done over at Dark Horse. A couple of the other books like Berserker and stuff come from some of the smaller companies. Do they travel, or is it like everybody just sort of bases it on the movies and the TV shows they watch?
It's an interesting question. There aren't a lot of comic book shops in Ireland.
Yeah.
I think there's like 7.
Yep.
In total. So I mean, and they're generally well stocked. Those guys know what they're doing. So there's plenty of variety in the Irish stores. Then you've got the UK, which kind of do their own thing. You know, they get all of the American stuff, but, you know, they've got the likes of 2080 and a whole other bunch of magazines and stuff that have kind of been part of their history. Across Europe, I think it would be much the same as here in Ireland. It would just be a case of the most popular stuff gets placed on the shelves. The indie stuff, you know, here in Ireland or in England, we kind of hope to get to North America so that it can kind of reach that wider audience.
Yeah, I'm always intrigued when you go to, like, there's certain countries that, you know, recognize, you know, I mean, I've got a character that obviously is outside the big two, right? And some countries recognize it not necessarily in the store, but just outside the store, right? And then there's others that are like, no, you have to be in the bubble, right? Of sort of tight geekdom, if you will. So,
and it's so niche that it can be difficult to even break through with other niche, you know, characters and things like that, because fans are very loyal, and they you know, they like more variety, they like what they like, but, you know, you're treading that line of, you know, are things a little too similar, or are things a little too obscure? Because that can happen. You know, you get people and they want to, you know, emulate the likes of Spawn, you know, the likes of characters that are kind of undead and a bit more rough around the edges. You know, they're not as clean cut as the likes of Superman. But oftentimes they'll end up getting too close to the source material, and it doesn't kind of have its own substance. That can happen. That can happen a lot.
Yeah. Well, then everybody just needs to get video games, movies, TVs, and then they're off to the races.
Yeah.
I found, look at Kevin, I found, and this should come as no surprise, right? If you run into somebody and then somebody's trying to explain what I do or whatever else, and sometimes they'll go, oh yeah, he's the guy who created Spawn. And then I can see the look instantly that, like, it's like, nothing matter. Like, that didn't matter, right? So the easy default, like 2 seconds later, go, and I also go create Venom. Right? And then their eyes light up because they're like, what? I went to that movie. Oh man, you must be good.
Yeah, you're worth taking seriously.
Yeah, that's it. So that's why I'm saying, so you just got to get outside the bubble. But
so, anyway. Yeah, I mean, over here, I mean, I'll put it to you this way: here in Ireland, you know, no one takes you seriously until you work in America.
Oh,
you know,
that's interesting.
That's how it goes. Nobody cares in Ireland anything. It doesn't matter what you do. But if you worked in America, all of a sudden, oh, this guy, he's the real deal.
Wow.
So,
okay. Well, the equivalent to that for me was I was in the industry for 3 years or so, maybe even more. And then I moved over to Marvel and I did a bunch of things. And then I finally got the Hulk. And when I finally got the Hulk, that's when my mom and dad thought I'd made it. They were like, "Oh man, you're going to make a career out of this." I've been making a career out of it for 3 or 4 years, right? And I didn't get paid any more. I didn't get paid any more for doing the Hulk. It was just that they recognized the word. So then it's like, oh, so for them it was like, oh, so, yeah, they could go to the cocktail parties and say a word that everybody would understand. And then it was like, oh, okay, your son must be doing well, right? To say, hey, he's doing Infinity Incorporated didn't mean nothing. Right, so so for you, it's the same one. Oh, he's working in America. Oh shit! So
pretty much that. My dad has been pretty proud of talking about his son working on Spawn, and plenty of people have acknowledged that too. You know.
Yeah. Oh shoot! Well, we gotta get the movie to even make it even more impressive for your dad. So.
I'm just glad. You know, one thing I will say is, you know, I was at it 10 years over here before ever getting any look at from America. But it's kind of funny because my dad has been my agent for God knows how long over here. You know, he's been showing me, it doesn't matter if somebody asks him what time it is, he'll go, "Oh, my son draws." So, you know,
my dad walks around restaurants, literally, and goes, "Do you know Spawn?" No. And then he just goes to the next table. And he goes until he finds him and he goes, "Yeah." So you know Tom McFarlane? Yeah. You know who that is over there? Like he just literally he will make the rounds of people. You can see people going, "Who's that old man hassling everybody in the restaurant?" Yep.
My dad describes it as he's like a man with two heads.
Oh.
You know, so it's very endearing, and it's just nice to, you know, my dad was defending me whenever I would have arguments with my art teachers in school, so it's nice to prove him right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. All right. Well,
Great
for
talking to you,
you
Todd.
folks out there, I'm gonna get, but the folks out there, for some of you don't know, Kevin was right there at the beginning, like when the Spawn universe began, and by the end of this year, Kevin, I don't even know if you're paying attention. All three of those books, Gunslinger, King Spawn, and Scorch, are all going to reach issue 50.
Wow.
Right? Like, bam.
Wow. How time
This
flies.
is why I keep telling people you got to do 50 issues of your own book, and they're like, "Oh, it's too hard." And it's like, I don't know. It didn't seem like we started that long ago, does it? So and now I'm going to have 3 more books at issue 50. Cool. Here we go.
Wow. Congratulations. It's a hell of an achievement.
Wow. Because I'm smart enough to go find good people like you to help grow in that direction. So I appreciate all you've done, and besides that, you've done a couple covers that have blown my mind. So keep it up. So all right,
means the world to me, Todd. Thank you.
All right, I'll let you get back. To the other questions. You have a good one, everybody.
Rock and roll, Todd.
Thanks for dropping in, Todd.
Okay, bye.
Super awesome. And yeah, if everybody in the audience, there's a hand icon at the bottom of your screen. So feel free to click that hand icon and come on up stage, ask Kevin some questions. That was pretty cool. Todd stopping by.
That was awesome. I'm always happy to chat with Todd. You know, he's been influential to me since Jump. So, you know, it's special to be able to talk to one of your biggest influences.
Hell yeah. I actually have a question, because I remember last time we were talking, you're kind of the black and white specialist, but I was going through your socials recently, and I've seen a lot of color images. Have you been working on your colors recently? More and more?
I have. I've been kind of in a different state of mind with my art for maybe the last, I would say maybe the last 12 months. I've been kind of trying to figure out more ways of kind of getting what I want across more directly. You know, comic books are very collaborative, and it's one of the best parts of comic books is multiple artists at a high level all collaborating on one visual to make it as good as possible. You know, I mean, I could point to God knows how many of the color artists that I've worked with on the Spawn books, you know, from FCO to Peter, Steigerwald, I think. My sincerest apologies if I got his name wrong. And then Marcello Iasoli, of course, and Ivan Nunes. You know, these guys are magnificent colorists, and they've brought such magic to my inks that it kind of, you know, I guess being an artist, I'm somewhat competitive. So once I started seeing how good their colors were, I was kind of like, well, there's got to be something to this that I can do. You know, there's got to be something I can learn here. And so I spent the last couple of months kind of formally teaching myself how to color within my own style. So that's kind of what we're going to try here tonight. Hopefully I can get it done on time.
Yeah, I posted up some example images in chat for those of you guys who haven't seen it. I really like your colors. I think they're sweet, and they go well with your art.
Well, you see, the idea is there's a kind of a logic to it where I'm kind of trying to speed up the process of making my own books. So by integrating color into my style, it becomes less procedural, as in like a conveyor belt of collaborating artists, and it becomes more of just a singular artistic process, so that I can make my books a bit faster. So like if I have a colorist on one project, I can work and color my own afterwards, and it kind of frees me up to be able to do more art.
Hell yeah. So you don't have to kind of waste all those the time filling in lines when you know you're just going to color over it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of just let's I won't say cut corners, but let's shear down some corners, you know.
Shortcuts.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, it's still the same image. It's still just that. It's just I'm not staying too formally close to one particular style our approach.
Absolutely. Well, we got somebody from audience. Quinn, welcome to stage, man.
What's going on? How you been?
Doing well, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, for sure. In all honesty, I'm half awake. I just wanted to ask, you ever done any Green Lantern?
I haven't. I would love to, personally. I mean, being Irish, it feels right that I get to work on something with green in the title. But no, I would love to. I genuinely would. I love the Green Lantern.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Particularly the Hal Jordan, John Stewart era in particular.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Silver Age.
Yeah.
Well, sounds cool. That's about all I had to ask. I never seen you over here before, so I just thought I'd stop on by.
Good to meet you, dude. Thanks for chiming in.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate you stopping by, Quinn. If you didn't know, Kevin, I think Quinn's grandfather, Martin Odell, was actually the creator of Green Lantern. So,
wow! Oh, wow! I'm in the presence of royalty.
No, just kind of here.
Well, I respect your family's lineage tremendously.
Well, thank you very much. That means a lot. And
Genuinely,
the work you're doing is awesome.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Of course. Keep at it. Have a good one, man.
Rock and roll, brother.
thanks for stopping by, Martin. Hope you're doing well. Anybody else got questions? Feel free to come on up. We got Milton Aguilar Art asks, how do you balance working on your own comics and someone else's? I'm trying to make a living, but I have to pause my comic for that.
Yeah, it can be a struggle. It can be painful to break from your own projects to work for other people. The best way to kind of balance it is to love money. No, I mean, the best way to do it really would be to kind of, you can make a schedule for yourself and plan everything out. That way you get a kind of an overview and you can mentally prepare yourself to go to one job over another. Or like what I like to do is if I'm drawing a particular project, like I like to, like when I got into making comic books, not to be long-winded about this, but when I got into making comic books, it was more about the craft of making comics than actually just one particular avenue. Like, I mean, I've always wanted to be a penciler, but by the time I got into the age of making comics, I got to the right age to do it professionally. Being a penciler also meant you had to be an inker too, as well as, maybe learning how to do certain other things. I also ran a publisher over here in Ireland, so I had to learn on the fly how to, prepare projects and all of that other stuff. So the way I've learned to kind of balance my personal projects and my, let's say, freelance work would be, while I'm drawing one project, let's say if I was working on Spawn, my priority would be entirely to be drawing Spawn, but then to be writing or lettering or a smaller aspect of my other project. That way I can still at least keep in touch with it. So that would be, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. I know last time we spoke, you hadn't quite started doing your own stuff, but you were definitely super interested in kind of starting your own comic and universe. Have you made progress on that? Have you started?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I was actually working quite heavily on it today. So it's a slow process,
For sure.
Balancing it all is tricky. There's no easy way to do it by any means, but I've made fantastic progress in writing in particular. That was kind of the last area I wanted to kind of learn. And thankfully it's way easier than drawing. Obviously I'm not a pro together in a story and make sense.
Is there have you posted anything about it anywhere, or is it you keeping it under wraps since it's
I'm keeping everything pretty closely under wraps for now. until I've got everything properly copywritten and taken care of in that respect. Because this is the internet age. People like to steal things.
Yeah.
That'll happen.
No, so it's just more. I'm just trying to give it its best shot. I'm trying to make sure that this is the first time my machine has been sluggish while drawing.
I think Discord's most recent update has been really iffy, and so we've had some issues with people.
I see.
Hopefully it's not too terrible for you.
No, it's fine. I'm just wondering if I adjust the output.
So it's not 1440.
Yeah, I'm just going to see if I can reduce that down. 1 second.
No worries. Well, whenever you start releasing the details on your book, you'll definitely have to stop by here because I know I'm super interested.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
2 years ago when we were talking about it, I thought your art would be kick-ass in its own comic book. So you doing the whole book would be nuts. I'm definitely looking forward to that whenever
Thank you.
comes to fruition.
No, I appreciate it. Absolutely. No, I'll 100% be in touch as soon as this is kind of has more meat on the bones.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the stream settings. Or the
I think you have to end the stream and restart it at this.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll do that. I'll reshare my screen.
Sounds good. NWO, I see you hopped up on stage. Welcome, bud.
Hey, what's up, Rem? Thanks for putting me back on. I was on here yesterday. I had a question. Now, a little background on myself. Kevin, I got into crypto like in 2017, so I'm fairly, I've been around, but I didn't really get into like the comic genre or aspect of it. I ran into the Tom McFarlane Discord, and then of course, Mark Spears. Both are beasts in this industry up here. So my question is this, because I'm fairly new to comics. What is the difference? And I wanted to ask this yesterday, but my connection was horrible. What is the difference, if you guys could give me the definition of between an inker, a sketcher, and a penciler? Is that what I'm hearing? What's the major difference?
So they're two different disciplines. So the pencil. So, penciling and inking are two different disciplines. Penciling is kind of the first stage. I guess you could say in the old days, the penciler was the lead artist. They were the stronger visual storyteller, and they would be charged with leading the eye and telling the story with good visuals. But in order to do their job efficiently, because drawing comic book pages takes a long time. In order to do their job efficiently, they had to bring in another artist to kind of help sharpen things up. So what you would find is you would have the penciler would, okay, so I'll show you. So here is pencils. If we were doing this traditionally, I'm just going to pull out my old pens here 1 second. If we were to do this traditionally, we would put this as black, and we would jump up on one more layer, and we would start inking. So this is, let's say, a loose pencil, and then you would come in with black ink, and you would start shoring up the lines and making everything sharp.
Right on.
Do you see what I'm saying? And so what you're doing now is you're adding clarity to all of the lines, and you're making it nice and shapely and formed, and it looks cool. And when you pull back, it's nice and clear. Do you see my point?
Yeah. So expanding on this, so an inker also has to have some sort of skills in drawing as well. You're both can draw, right?
Yes.
Obviously.
Oh, absolutely. Inkers are invaluable. Absolutely, 100%. Inkers are invaluable. It's a very, very specific discipline. A good inker, a good inker is worth their weight in gold. I mean, the last time, Remy, you'll remember one of the last times I was on here, I was with Jonathan Glapian.
Absolutely. We actually had him in here yesterday with Daniel Henriquez.
Oh, sweet. With Daniel. Awesome. And like, Jonathan for years was inking over Todd and Greg Capullo, and has now taken the leap over into penciling. And he is an example of an inker who is as strong as a really, really good penciler. And that's why his inks are so special, because he has that penciler's confidence. Ink is a daunting thing. Most new artists and young artists are terrified by ink. So to ink properly and to ink with confidence is a rare thing. So the two, when they go harmoniously together, it creates magic. And that's, I think, ultimately why comic books are so loved.
Bro, that was a great explanation. Hey, thank you so much for your time. That was great.
Hey, my pleasure, dude. Anytime.
For sure.
Appreciate you coming
Thanks,
up,
man.
NWO. Have a great weekend, man.
For sure. You too, man.
What's going on, Eden? Welcome to stage.
Oh, hello. I'm just outside here. Yeah. So
Nice. Awesome. Enjoying the weather. You got a question for Kevin?
I don't know any questions I want to ask, but I guess I'll try and ask one, whatever comes across the mind. But honestly, Kevin, man, so you do what, like artwork? Obviously, I'm assuming. So, like, let me think. Like, what's your preference of, like, I guess, like, how you want to draw, how you want to color, whatever, and what kind of styles you like to do, basically?
Stylistically, I mean, I've always been very, very influenced from the 90s and early 2000s. So stylistically, I'll always lean into, that era. I guess the best way I can describe it to people is, if you are old enough to remember Marvel vs. Capcom back in the day, then you know where I come from, because that's the art style that I grew up looking at and loving. These nice big muscular figures with these cool poses and stuff. that leads us right over into American comics, where around the same time you had the likes of Todd McFarlane and J. Scott Campbell, Joe Madureira, Humberto Ramos, all these dudes with really, really big dynamic styles with really confident lines and really powerful poses and all that good stuff. So that's kind of where I hang my hat. That's kind of what I naturally gravitate towards. And I just kind of then try to do my own thing. I kind of let my mind go blank and let the kind of natural flow of my hand take me where I'm going. Hopefully it works out. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time, though, we can make it work.
Oh,
Yeah, that makes sense. And also, right now, the screen sharing you're sharing, it looks pretty cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can't wait till you know what? I can't wait especially for it. I can't wait till maybe you color it if you are or not. So yeah,
I'll definitely try and get to the coloring stage as quick as I can.
Yeah, don't rush it. Don't rush it.
I do have
Take
a
your
birthday
time.
party to go to in 2.5 hours, Kevin. So that's the time. We got plenty of time.
No worries.
Flowers is plenty of time.
I've got friends coming over in about an hour, so
Crunch time.
Dude, 2 days ago I went to Dave and Buster's with my friends. So yeah,
Nice.
I went with the Serbians. So yeah, my good old friends. So yeah.
Heck yeah.
I am. But this is the fun part about being in comic books, is that no other art career puts this much pressure on you.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's why I enjoy the crunch.
Yeah, obviously, this is the thing I'll say. Sorry if you hear the plane, ignore that. I wasn't really like, okay, so like I'm always into coloring, so like that was my main thing that I liked it at the very beginning when I figured out like what kind of what I want to do. I guess I always wanted to color, but when I was younger, that's where I kind of started the foundation. So yeah, coloring was always my favorite thing to do. I always enjoyed it. I'll say that. It just there's a lot to learn, I think. So
absolutely, there's a hell of a lot to learn with coloring for sure.
Yeah, I love the coloring aspect of, being an artist, I guess. Like I want to be an artist one day, so yeah, in whatever
Gotta
way
start
I
somewhere.
could. Yeah, I mean everybody starts anywhere, right? I mean, take any opportunity, even if it's different from someone or most of the majority, at least you got somewhere to go for it.
Absolutely, dude. Rock and roll.
Certainly. And yeah, that roll like who is it? The Violator says, I guess. In the anime series, I forgot which episode, part, season that was, but I remember something like that. Get rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, good question, Kevin. Do you do? I don't think you do, but maybe you do. Who knows? Do you do any kind of form of screenwriting?
Screenwriting. I mean, I mostly just write for comic book myself. So I mean, they're kind of the same, more or less. They're both scripts. They can both be translated visually. So I won't say yes formally, but I mean, I could certainly have a shot.
One day, maybe when
Maybe
your
one
comic
day.
book takes off.
Maybe, man. Who knows?
Ooh, that makes sense. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair, honestly. So, yeah, yeah. Are you in like the image comic industry or something, or like where are you at basically?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm gonna admit this. I don't know any artists or anyone like that. I don't know much. Like the only
Sure.
person that I could go far back then and now is probably just Todd. No one else. I don't know who
Sure,
else.
man. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I mean, I've worked with Image. Yeah, I've had covers for Spawn and all the Spawn titles. So
We've
I
done
guess
stuff
you could
here at
say,
OddKey, and we've released a lot of his Spawn work here at OddKey.
yeah.
I see.
Oh yeah.
So
Hell
I've got the receipts, brother.
This guy's certified legit, Eden. Don't worry about it.
Well, if he's certified legit, I'm gonna need all the legit that I can get. literally.
Watch his process. I mean, it's super cool, and I think that's why these live drawings resonate with so many people. Is everybody's kind of at their own spot. We have fans, people who just appreciate art, and then artists and creators trying to get into the industry, and we have really talented artists out in the audience, and people maybe just starting. There's a whole spectrum of people, and
yeah, and like you said there's a wide variety of people, from starting, maybe wanting to get in and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of aspects. There's a lot of various, people that want to go there and get there. So, yeah, I definitely know what I want, of course. I mean, it's not that I don't care for people what they want. I'm always excited and hyper to kind of hear it out, right? Because it kind of gets me excited. That's where the hyperness comes from. So, like, if I hear someone that is like, hey, I want to be this, and then I'm going to do it this way, and I hear it, I'm like, no, that's really exciting to hear. Maybe you can learn a thing or two, maybe, and maybe put it into your own thing as well. So, like, I'm always open to hearing anybody's, idea and whatever. So, yeah, I would love to hear whatever.
You got any more questions, Eden, for Kevin?
How long have you been doing this? You worked with Image Comics, and like since the day and now.
I started working as a comic book artist in 2013.
2013? Where was I in 2013? Oh, school. That's right.
I was fresh out the school at that point.
So you were fresh out of school.
Well, I mean, when I say fresh out of school, I mean I was in my 20s. I was after moving to another part of the country that I'm living in, and I just decided it's time now to pursue what I want, and what I want is to work in comic books, or at least work as an illustrator. That was my goal. So I got started in 2013, and thankfully it's worked out since. So
goal achieved.
Yep,
that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you coming up. Thanks for your question.
I have one more thing.
Yep, go ahead.
Kevin, I have a good question. So, what I want to know, I love hearing advices, but what would be, there's always a wide variety of advices from anyone. Everyone has different aspects, right? So I'm curious, what would be your best advice to, where I didn't say where I want to be at and stuff and what I want, obviously, but I kind of want to hear, anything like related to that, like obviously, like, all of that fancy stuff, whatever. So yeah, I'm curious.
I'm specifically. Is it you're looking for advice to get into comics, or is it to be an artist?
Yeah, it could be one. Yeah, it's like mainly both of them at the same time. So yeah, simultaneously. So yeah.
Okay, so the first thing I would say, I don't like this nonsense of telling people, just chase your dreams and it'll eventually I don't subscribe to that. Learn your craft. That's what I would say to you, is learn the craft. There's a million and one different ways to go about learning how to make comic books, but I would say a very good starting point, and people even today can use it. It's a book called How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. It's an old book done by Sal Buscema and Stan Lee, but it pretty much outlines the whole thing pretty perfectly. It's still very relevant today. It's obviously a little out of date in certain things because the techniques have moved on a lot since the 1980s and 1970s. But if you want to learn how comic books are made, that's a very good starting point. And from there, I would then start practicing and just commit to practice. Just commit. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way to persevere with comic books in general, is you just have to stay persistent and consistent at the same time. So that would be my best advice.
That's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. I'm always open to any kind of advice that will help me, even if it's, a little bit or just something that that doesn't require me of needing. But I don't really care. I just want to hear it and kind of, keep it to myself, because the more you hear, the better, basically. So
yeah,
get that experience.
Absolutely.
Coming up, Eden.
All right, I'm at 3%, so I better get off. So yeah.
No worries. Take care, Eden. All right, this is looking cool. So what this is just kind of get the overall shape outline to see.
Yeah, we're playing with the silhouette.
That's awesome.
So what we're doing is we're going to treat everything like a silhouette, each element. So his body, his cape, his face, everything. And then once we're there, we're going to shade everything. And then we're going to hopefully make it good.
It's looking badass so far. Legion Fire, I see you hopped up on stage. Welcome, buddy.
Hello, Rem. Hello, Kevin. How are you two doing?
What's up?
Splendid.
I was wondering, because I'm still reading King Spawn as it's coming out, but I thought it was really cool that you went from doing a lot of covers to drawing an interior for an issue of King Spawn with Sean Lewis.
Yep.
And my question was mostly, how does drawing the interior of a book, just for like maybe one issue, differ greatly from the covers? And then are you open to do another like issue or maybe like short stint in the future?
Oh, I would love to. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do more sequential stuff in the interiors, because that's the fun, That's the best part of the job, is telling the story. That said, covers are easier. As you can see right now, they don't take as long. They don't take as much planning a lot of the time. So covers can be a little easier on the schedule, and just in general, they can be easier on your eyes, on your back. It's a physical job. You have to lean forward all day and focus closely on things. So covers are definitely less, I guess, tedious in terms of the hours spent. But there's something about telling the story and seeing it all come together that's just undeniable. It's just such a great experience. So I would love to do more sequentials if needed. If the opportunity presented itself, I would absolutely take it. But the guys working please remind me the name of the current artist on King Spawn.
Yildirim Sonar. I think.
Yes, thank you, Sinar. Yeah, that's right. He's kicking ass right now. He's doing a great job, and Javi was doing an outstanding job as well. So if ever I was called on to do more fill-in stuff for a short stint, I'd be more than happy. Because Spawn is cool, his world is cool, his characters are awesome. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Awesome question, Legion. Thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Jabizel asks in the audience, have you ever thought to suggest Todd to work on an animated series? He says your style matches perfectly what we saw in the 90s HBO series.
I'm blushing. I'm blushing. I've not pitched anything to Todd directly. I would always, my art style is derived from animation, watching animation when I was very young, watching the Spawn series, especially watching the Batman series. I internalized a lot of the stuff, so my drawing style is very much an amalgamation of all my influences at once, and it's something I would love to do. Actually, I would love to develop an animated series, some degree. So who knows? Maybe in the future. But to answer your question, no, I've not pitched anything directly to Todd, but my door's always open.
That'd be badass. This right here would be a sweet main character in an animated show. This King Spawn.
Yeah, I just really I like giving him the crown. Any opportunity to flex.
Love that. What's going on, JB?
Hey, what's up? How you doing? Can you hear me well?
Yep.
How you doing, Kevin?
How are you, man?
All good, all good. Yeah, amazing piece you're working for us today. So yeah, I did the suggestion, so you must do it. Take the chance right away and ask Todd, because we need you as a working on the animated series. Really, I love your style. Just want to congratulate you.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me. Thank you.
Yeah, I remember the first time that we had you with us, and when you wrote the Gunslinger. I love that piece. I still kept watching the video about the drawing.
Oh wow!
Or your workflow process.
No, absolutely. By all means, that's kind of what it's there for. It's people say, "Oh, don't share too many of your too much of your process." It's like, it's all pretty standard. It's all pretty standard. There's nothing too special about what I do. It's just how I do it, which only I can do. I can only do it this way. You can do it your way. Like Todd would do it his way. It's mostly all the same stuff. We're all just trying to make something cool. But I appreciate that it resonated with you. That means the world. That's why I do it genuinely. I don't really care too much about fame or notoriety or being recognized for any of that stuff. I like it when an art style resonates with somebody, because it did with me. When I was much younger, I used to love the different animation styles. I love the difference between, let's say, the original X-Men and then X-Men Evolution, or the original Teen Titans series. They're just badass. So that's kind of what I aim for. And I think all of us who love these kinds of things have that in us, that little kid who just loves those kind of bubbly, fun styles. No matter how, graphic or dark it might be, I think we still like that kind of visual, because Legend of Zelda is a thing, and that's dark as hell. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have a lot of great artists in progress, and all different kind of like artists that on our community. So we are very proud, and I think that these events that we are trying to give to the community, they always help to keep inspiring our young or new generations. And
awesome.
Anything that we can learn from your workflow process, it's very important, because I know that at the end of the day, it's always start with a sketch, maybe doing some backgrounds or some coloring, as you mentioned, every artist have their process, but we always learn about the small details, about the
Oh
details.
yeah, absolutely. The devil's in the details. I think Todd named a book after that.
Yeah, exactly. I have that one, and yeah, the devil's in the details. So, well, I think we are always fan of the devil here. And I just kidding.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, talking about the details, so it's always amazing to explore the process of any artist that we have in here. Yesterday we have our dear friends Daniel Enriquez and Jonathan Glapion, and yeah, we
Yeah,
have
you've
a
got
lovely
a
evening
world
with
of
them,
insight
and
there.
a very true and funny evening. Though those two are amazing.
Yes, yes, they are. Daniel and Jonathan are some of the. I mean, as artists, they're phenomenally talented. You know, it's no joke. I mean, it's too simple to just say. I know they're both known primarily as inkers, but you know, Daniel is, you know, he's done his own covers on the Gunslinger and I think Kingspawn now as well.
Yeah.
And you know, he's writing this story with Jonathan that's coming out soon, and you know, they're just firing on all cylinders. It's very, very inspiring. So I really, really have great respect for the two of them. And again, examples of, you know, they were known for one thing, but they've expanded and evolved, and that's kind of the whole idea. That's one thing I'm very excited for with the future of comic books is, you know, more people taking more risks and kind of expanding their skill sets. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Watching these artists that for us, obviously, all of you are on the major leagues, and watching Daniel taking this challenge challenging himself to start writing with this amazing duo with Jonathan. I think it also it's inspiring for all of you that are out there that maybe are just working with drawing, and to ask yourself like, well, if Daniel can do, I can do it too, you know.
Well, I
I
mean,
can work in my own book.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, we inspire each other, but you know, another word for inspiration is competition.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like we're competing for each other's audiences or like that. I hope they have 1 million fans within a week. You know, I would love that for them. But you know, when as artists, you know, if you see somebody doing something that you really, really like, you want to see if you can do it too. If you're the real deal, you know, I know plenty of people approach things very differently, but what I'm saying is, you know, if I see an artist who is very, very strong in an area that I also am very strong in, and they manage to successfully adapt to something else, it inspires me to try and push forward again. So if I can do that in turn, well, then I'm kind of keeping my side of the bargain artistically, you could say.
Yeah, definitely. And it always helps to keep growing the community and keep challenging yourself.
Absolutely.
As long as you're enjoying it, I mean, what else are we doing right here, right?
Yep. You hit the nail on the head, brother.
Yeah, awesome. So talking about your process, what we are watching right here, you're trying to separate deepness layers, we can say, about the different tones of gray.
Yes. So what I'm trying to do is it's a method called true toning, where you're kind of coloring without color.
Yeah.
And you're separating out all of the gray tones and gray shapes so that they become almost individual elements. Essentially, this is just removing the inking process of kind of fine lining everything and taking loads and loads of time to refine each line. So instead, what we're doing is we're relying on, so you can see if I just turn off the line layer, you can see all of these big shapes, but they have clean edges, which is what you're looking for. I just bring out a highlighter here, 1 second. So you can see there's clean edges.
Yes.
Right? These clean edges are all what you would be looking to get if you were to ink this. Okay?
Yes.
So by doing this, I'm not painstakingly going in and having to fine detail every little thing. I'm going to let my sketch inform, and I just gradually build it up. Like build it. We start we start from the biggest, and then we work our way in to the smallest details. That's kind of the method that you should use, biggest to smallest. And by making all these big shapes nice and clear, we can work in on the small details very efficiently. it's really quite a fun process. Not one that I've seen very common. I don't know anybody else who does it this way. At least if they do, I've not seen them. But somebody here might know if they have seen somebody working this way. But I've been kind of logically trying to break down each aspect of making a comic book into a part of the process of drawing rather than relying on multiple people.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, not exactly like this process, but there's another artist who has worked with Todd too. He's Don Aguilio. He's done a lot of
Oh,
covers.
yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, but he makes maybe something similar to you, but he works with brushes, with
he's painting.
like painting brushes, and that's a really hard work to do. Doing the same process that you're making, but with brushes, I think it's harder, right?
Yeah, I would say the way that Don Argulo, like I love his style. His stuff jumps off the page. He's kind of coming at it from a painterly discipline.
Yep.
Whereas I'm coming at it from an illustrator discipline. So, I'm more focused on lines, whereas he would be more focused on tone and form. So he would kind of fit the more painterly mold. But that said, not everybody can do what Don Argulo can do. Not everybody can make it sing like he can. So there's something in the water in that neck of the woods. All those dudes from his part of the world are crazy talented. There's Cale Ngu and there's Von Randall and of course there's Steven Segovia. That part of the world just churns out talent. So yeah.
Well, again, thanks for being here with us and sharing all this amazing piece. Already looks great, and we're just watching the sketches and the great layers.
Right. Thank you so much. It's always great to talk shop.
Yeah, thank you. Brian, I'm going to do a very quick announcement in Spanish, if you allow me to.
Yeah, go for it.
Bienvenidos a todos. Bueno, ya estamos a medio evento. Estamos aquí con el increíble Kevin Keane. Estamos viendo todo su proceso de dibujo. Nos está haciendo una especie de King Spawn que ya se va viendo genial. Les recuerdo a todos que si tienes alguna duda, alguna pregunta que quieras hacer y no te atreves porque no hablas inglés, no te preocupes, me puedes etiquetar en el chat. Y con todo gusto, o bien te subimos al escenario y en el escenario también te ayudo a hacer la traducción de tu pregunta. Así que no tengas miedo y bienvenidos. Raúl, bienvenido, por cierto. Es que veo que Raúl is writing here on the chat. Raúl, no sé si tengas alguna pregunta aprovechando, si te quieres subir al escenario para saludar a Kevin King. Puedes levantar la mano si gustas. You can raise your hand, Raúl, if you like to come up to stage.
I got like 5 of those words.
Yeah, now you learn Spanish. Yeah.
I heard Kevin Keane and King Spawn and
and maybe roll too.
Yeah, and roll.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Jeff, shout out Jeff Monk in the audience. Good to see you, man.
Oh yeah, we have all the stars in here. Earlier, I forgot the word.
Yeah, we've had tons of artists stop by.
Yeah, sure. Earlier we had Mirko. We had Mirko Kolak too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Mirko was on the chat.
Hell yeah. What's going on, Raul? Welcome to stage.
Hi, Kane.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, gracias.
Bienvenido. ¿Cómo ves?
Dude.
¿Cómo ves el dibujo?
Se ve increíble. The draw looks so awesome. It's amazing.
Sí, definitivamente va genial. ¿Quieres preguntarle algo a Kevin? Te ayudamos con la pregunta o se lo preguntas tú directo como gustes.
Pues la había escrito, pero sí, pues era que si tenía algún proyecto próximo o algo que fuera a salir ahorita.
Okay. Kevin, Raul asked if you have any project soon, or you're working on something else right now that is going to drop soon.
I just finished a 2-part book with a company in the UK. It's kind of a horror. It's a fun story. It's really, really cool. It's called Love, Death, Eat, Repeat. It's still waiting on a release date. But later this year, for sure. It will be probably. I'm not quite sure how it's going to be released just yet. I think they're kind of sorting that out, but I know it is planned for a release this year. So, just keep if you're on my social media, you'll see it. So, I'll promote it there.
Awesome, thanks. Sí, pues está trabajando en un libro de 2 partes que se llama Ama, Muere, Vive y Repite, hasta lo que entendí. Love, Death, Live and Repeat. Está trabajando en eso y se planea lanzar para este año. Espera que sea dentro de diciembre más tardar, o dentro de este año fue lo que tiene, ya sea lo que está trabajando ahorita recientemente.
Thank you for answering my question, and gracias, Gabriel, por ayudarme.
Gracias,
Thank you,
Raúl.
brother. Always great to talk to you, Raúl.
And go back to the public.
Okay.
Sweet, Raul. Thanks for coming up. Appreciate you. Jeff Monk in the audience asks if you are doing the internals as well.
For Love, Death, Repeat? Yes.
Hell yeah.
I didn't do the cover. They've got a guy already who takes care of that for them. So I did the interiors to 2 of the issues, 3 and 4, I believe. So they will be getting announced later. Well, they've already been announced, I guess, but they'll be available later this year. I don't really know how it's. I don't know if it's going to direct to publication or if it's going to crowdsource. So I'm waiting to kind of decide or see what they decide on doing with it. But it will be out.
Awesome. Just to remind everybody, you guys can click the hand icon at the bottom of your screen to come up on stage. I know we got people watching on Twitter, discord.gg/McFarlane. You guys can come on in and ask Kevin some questions yourself. I'm going to change gears here a little bit. Kevin, did you watch that UFC card the other night, Paddy and Lopez?
I did. It was really interesting. I wasn't expecting Paddy to do so good against Chandler.
He looked really
he leveled
in
up
shape compared to the last time I saw him fight.
Right? Yeah, he looked really good. I have to give it to him. I mean, I wouldn't be Paddy's biggest fan. It's just the Scouse accent just irritates me.
Conor McGregor 3.0.
I mean, at least Conor's Irish. You know, he's got the same humor as we do, so we can kind of laugh at the same humor. But the Scouse humor and accent, it can be tedious sometimes. But he's a funny lad. He's a good guy. I enjoy him. And I'm glad to see he's leveling up. It's nice to see another UK fighter kind of making their push.
Absolutely. It seems like Michael Chandler's been looking like a punching bag recently.
I don't know what's going on with him. I really like Chandler too. I mean, I wasn't pleased with him in his fight with Poirier. There was some nasty stuff going on there. But I think he's a really good dude. You know, I think he's a really, really good person. And I would like to see him. I mean, he's a freak of nature physically. Like, you look at him, he's a giant. And like in terms of musculature, like, I mean, it's not right to be that muscular.
It's got Greek god's body status. It's nuts.
You know? So like, it's kind of crazy, but he's just had a rough run, you know, not denying it. That knockout of, I think it might be karma. Well, now that I think of it, it might be karma, because he did knock out Tony Ferguson in a horrifically decisive fashion, I should say. So maybe it's karma for hurting Tony in front of us all.
Maybe. I mean, at this point, I think he should hang it up.
Oh, absolutely. But still, it's Tony. You know, he's been a sweetheart of the UFC forever. You know, it's never good. It's like what happened with Gaethje and Cowboy. You know, you just don't ever want to see something like that happen.
No, absolutely.
You know, it's like the referee really should be paying more attention there. Obviously, you know, in Tony's situation, I don't think the ref could have done anything. But still, I think it's karma for taking one of our chosen ones away from us.
Oh yeah, now might be past his time. Jeff, I see you hopped on stage. Welcome. Good to see you here.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Oh, cool. Kevin, nice to chat with you. I was curious, maybe you could talk a little bit about the challenges of doing internal pages versus covers, and sort of how you reconcile the differences between them, and how you overcome the challenges. Because I have learned the hard way that internal pages are about 460 million times harder than covers. And I'm absolutely horrific at them, like embarrassingly so.
Well, I mean, the one thing you can fall back on, Jeff, is that you're a phenomenally talented cover artist. So that's a hell of a start. You know,
Thank you.
Like most people, like, believe it or not, and it sounds harsh, but it is true. Most people who want to get into the career at all just suck at both. You know, and that's something that we all have to kind of reconcile with at some point. That, you know, you're going to be weaker in certain areas. I mean, I think the best advice I can give to someone who is struggling with their interiors is develop a strong shorthand. So when you work on a cover, you're used to putting a lot of detail, a lot of focus in certain areas, and, you know, delivering a certain finish on certain textures and whatnot, and that can take a lot of time. And so it's like you're used to driving at a certain pace. And when you work on an interior page, you have to recognize that you're not doing just one drawing. You know, you're doing 5, 6, maybe 7. In my case, sometimes even more than that. And you have to develop a shorthand that will illustrate your style efficiently and clearly, so that you can actually spend, I guess, the time doing the refining and the nice fun stuff more efficiently, or more, I guess, more usefully. So it's not easy. Under no circumstances would I say it's easy. In fact, I would say it's one of the hardest things you'll do, because, I'm sorry, my dogs are going nuts.
Oh, you're good.
So it's one of the hardest things that you'll do, illustration, purely because it is what it is. You know, it's learning how to communicate visually without words clearly, but in a field where you're trying to draw everything well. It's daunting. So rather than, okay, so if I could show, so for example, right, if we were to say a face, you know, you could sketch something out pretty quickly in negative space and get a pretty good idea of the face from just this alone, right? So rather than spending all the time focusing on, you know, where do the folds of the lips go, where does the jaw go, where does this go, instead just sketch it in, but try sketching it with less forgiving lines. Like, pencils are very, very forgiving. So if you want to develop a good shorthand, use lines, or brushes, I should say, that aren't as forgiving, and try to figure out where your sweet spot is, where you're kind of flowing and getting that kind of flow state. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the quicker you get into that flow state, the quicker your work will become clearer and more translated. So the flow state is king. And then from there, I would say to you, just develop getting everything nice and loose to this point, where you can see the anatomy clearly, you can see the shape and form clearly, but there's not a whole pile of detail. And then from there, you can kind of shore up your inking style so that your work still maintains that same, you know, quality. I mean, Jeff, your stuff is super textured and detail oriented. So developing a kind of a faster way of doing that level of rendering, or I guess in the digital age, you know, develop a brush that can help you achieve that quicker, so that you can do it in less steps, rather than, you know, painstakingly adding that level, that cover art level worth of detail to, you know, a small panel this big. You know, you don't got to do that. You can prioritize your shorthand then to include and disregard detail then, you know.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I hadn't. I like this idea of the shorthand. And
Well,
it
look
reminds
at
me
it
of
this
like,
way. Look at it this way. Sorry to cut across you. Sorry.
oh no.
The idea is, if you were a journalist, you're not going to be sitting there writing word for word like a stenographer at a court. You're not going to be doing that. You're going to be taking short notes so that you can get back to your office and write out an article. That's if you're a journalist. It's the same thing between writing and art. It's the same process. It's just one uses words, the other uses shapes. So by creating a shorthand for yourself, you're going to get quicker at establishing your shapes and your forms better. I hope that makes sense.
It's funny because as you were saying it, I was like, oh, it's kind of like a court stenographer because, a human being, regular human beings would look at court stenography and be like, it's absolute gibberish. I have no idea what the hell they're putting here.
Yeah.
But they make sense of it.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
And
all right.
that's what they've developed over years. So that's what I would recommend you do. So you've spent probably years developing an art style. So now spend a little while thinking about developing a shorthand style and then match the two up. I mean, your hand is going to be the common denominator doing the two of them. So you can very comfortably bridge the gap. It just takes a little while to get comfortable with it.
Interesting. That's a really interesting point.
Anytime, dude. Happy to help.
Yeah, love the accent too. I think I could listen to you literally talk about anything. You could tell me about bus schedules and something about the. That'd just be interesting.
The soothing sounds of a Southern Irish accent.
Well, yeah, because Canadian accents are just so dull and just. Bleh. So,
maybe to you,
yeah.
but I absolutely love them. I mean, you. Whereabouts are you based?
I'm in Toronto.
Awesome. Because I love the Canadian accent.
Really?
I adore it. Yeah, I mean, I used to, in the early portion of my career, I used to often listen to Kevin Smith's podcast, Smodcasts.
Yeah.
And, they would constantly be kind of cartoonizing Mounties and Canada in their own way. It was just super entertaining to listen to. But I just developed such the movie Goon?
Yes.
Yeah, I just came to love Canadian culture. I just came to love hockey and all that stuff through them. So it's not as dull as you think.
Well, it's funny. Like I don't mean to un-Canadianize myself here, but I actually cannot stand hockey. So.
Oh, fair enough. That's cool. I mean, look, I'm Irish and I can't stand hurling, so it's all good, man.
Fair enough. All right.
And they're basically the same sport too.
I appreciate the tips on the pages, though. That's helpful.
Absolutely, dude. And look, you know where I am. I'm on Instagram. If you ever get stuck or you ever want to hit me up anytime.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. There's a good chance I will, because I cannot explain to you how little I know what I'm doing and how much help is actually required here. It's pretty.
We've all been there. Trust me.
I almost made Greg Capullo cry when he was looking at my sequentials, and he almost hit me. So the help is definitely needed.
I mean, I just talked to him about Black Label Society for 20 minutes. So,
there you go.
I suppose I managed to avoid it because I was probably a little too scared to show him my art. You did better than me.
I told him you're the nicest person in the world, but I'm absolutely terrified of you. And my watch said my heart rate was 140. So I think he took pity on me because he thought I was gonna have a stroke on the spot or something.
Fair, no, very fair. I mean, you can imagine how I felt when I was on this same Discord chatting with Jonathan Glapian. After spending years admiring his ink, it's like I'm in the presence of somebody who's been very influential. So that's just how it goes. You just gotta suck it up.
Yeah. Stay scared, but try and get it done, I guess.
Absolutely. That's all you got to do is draw through the pain.
Yeah. So, brilliant. Okay. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, dude. Anytime.
Jeff, good to hear from you, man. Thanks for coming up.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I wanted to see what Kevin was up to, and this was a good chance to spy on him and see what the cool stuff he was going to do. So, yeah, I'm definitely into that.
Hell yeah.
We just need our dear friend Mirko to have the international panel.
Yeah, seriously.
That guy's fantastic too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of artists telling me. We got Todd starting, Mirko. I saw Jeff. Jeff did a live drawing here, Kevin, as well, and his piece was absolutely it's absurd. It's great.
Awesome. That is absolutely sweet.
We had a great evening that day with little Jeff finger.
Yeah, that's when I told my wife, yeah, we're going to do a live drawing. And she's like, who's going to watch it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
The people in here.
Yeah. Sorry, pardon me. I got to dip for a second. I just got to say goodbye to my family. They're leaving. But I'll be back, Kevin. I want to watch more stuff.
You got it, dude.
Take care.
Thanks so much.
Oh, yeah. If anybody in the audience, you guys want to come up, feel free to click that hand icon, come up with the stage and ask some questions. Kevin, you've been really getting into the details on this. You're making this thing look absolutely badass.
It's cool watching it come together, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't think we're gonna have time to get to colors before your boys show up, though.
Well, I mean, they're here, so they can wait now for a little while.
Tell me to tune into the live drawing.
Well, I mean, I imagine they will.
That's awesome.
I'm locked in now, so
no worries.
I mean, look, I'll get it. I'll probably get it to maybe the shading phase, and I'll see how far I can go. But I mean, once it's done, I'll post it up, and you guys can find a good home for it, I'm sure.
Absolutely, that'd be sweet. And just out of curiosity, would you be willing to send like one version unsigned and one version signed? Just because we kind of like, sweet, yeah, we like to auction off the one of one with the signature, and then everybody who attends will still get to collect this piece of art.
Sure,
but,
sure,
yeah,
yeah.
special because it's not a signature.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think Todd said that if also Kevin could add a one version that he will write to my dear friend GB. So yeah,
I don't remember Todd saying that specifically. We'll have to go check the recording.
Yeah, he DM'd me.
We'll have to run it back.
Nah, just kidding. Amazing.
Remy, gotta ask you, how's you still rocking it in college?
I am, yes. So last time we talked, I think I was out in Nashville, but I go to ASU now. I'm a Sun Devil in Arizona.
Ooh,
so
sweet.
I'm just almost done with my junior year. Debating whether or not I might go to law school. So we'll see.
Right. Nice.
But all of this has been fun. I mean, been working with a bunch of artists and been doing OddKey. It's just been an absolute thrill to get to know so many cool creators and I've never met any of them in person. It's nuts.
Yeah. That's how it goes, man. I mean, I think I've encountered maybe about 1,000 comic book artists, and I don't think I've met a single one. I mean, if you aren't based either here in Europe or have come over from America, and I haven't met, it's a shame because I would love to.
Yeah, absolutely. Ireland is definitely on my bucket list one day. So if I ever end up doing, I'll have to hit you up for some local.
Absolutely do. Yeah, come down to the south and I'll show you around.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, maybe we need to go on tour, Ren, like an OddKey tour.
The OddKey World Tour.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to visit Mirko in Serbia, then Kevin, then Jeff.
We need an F1 race out in Ireland, and then we'll meet up for that.
Daniel in Portugal.
Oh hell yeah!
Daniel Enriquez is in Portugal too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you gotta. I mean, Portugal's nicer than Ireland, so I'd recommend you go there first.
Yes, and then we can stop by to say hi to Javi Fernandez, who lives in Spain.
He's Spanish, yeah, that's right. Sweet. Yeah, this writes itself, guys.
Here.
So
let's call Todd, right? Let's call Todd. Let's get Hollywood on the line, right? That's the movie.
That's the movie right there.
The OddKey Euro trip.
One day, that would be the dream.
All we need is funding.
Or whenever your book is a smash hit and you inevitably come out to SDCC or NYCC Comic.
Yeah, I'll fund the whole thing. It's all good.
No, just for your book, but I can meet you there for sure. Is there a lot of cons out in Ireland? Probably not, huh?
Not really, no. For a while there was a good season of it where there was a good couple of years where there was lots of smaller shows that you could kind of move around to, and then one or two big ones in the middle of the year. But the main one is Dublin Comic Con, and they're kind of, I think they're expanding that, but Dublin Comic Con, and then there's they did one in a place called Kerry, which is the very south of Ireland, and then there's Cosmic Rebels, which is up in County Wexford. There are a few, and there are some very devoted people who do them. So it's cool. Yeah, it's very cool, but not as much as, like, God, nowhere near as many as the States. Hell no.
What kind of IPs are super popular out there other than the big two?
I mean, in Ireland, it's mostly the big two.
Mostly the big two.
Mostly the big two, and you get a lot of manga and anime fans. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Speaking of that, what kind of content have you been consuming? You've been watching any shows or animes or anything like that recently?
I mean, I haven't been watching a whole pile recently. I've been playing the first Berserker Kazan.
Oh yeah, I saw your art on that Berserker.
And I highly recommend that game. If you're a Souls fan, then absolutely.
Hell yeah!
I cannot recommend, but I strongly recommend it. It's awesome, so good. And then in terms of other stuff, watch the Cyberpunk series.
Yep.
Which was phenomenal.
Very well done.
Yeah, phenomenal. And then what else? There was something else. I was going to watch Devil May Cry, but I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Oh, I recently watched that. Definitely worth the watch.
Is it good?
Yeah, it is good. But if you're into kind of anime solo leveling, I'm sure you've heard the hype around that. I would also recommend that one.
Really? Okay, cool. No, I'll take your recommendation because I do like. I do enjoy anime, you know, I really do. I kind of grew up with the early forms of it, let's say, in the kind of more commercialized stuff. You know, Pokemon was from my generation.
Pokemon's every generation.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is it started with ours. You know, it started with us. You know, I was born in 1991, so Pokemon came about when I was, I think no.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball, of course. Yeah, God, Dragon Ball Z, especially over here, was huge. Dragon Ball Z over here was absolutely enormous. And then GT as well. Yu-Gi-Oh is huge. I'm trying to think what else. But yeah,
I've
Pokemon.
actually never really read any manga or manhwa, but the solo leveling anime was so good, and I was too non-patient to hear the rest of the story. I actually went and read the whole manhwa.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow. That's how good the show was. So,
I mean, when it comes to manga, I'm a schooler. So, you know, for me, it's Berserk and Shogun would be my kind of two favorites.
Oh, sweet. Have you been watching Invincible?
I'm not up to date with it. I'm not up to date with it, but I loved the first season and I thoroughly enjoyed the second. Very close friends of mine watched the third season and they were like, "Get on it, seriously." But the thing is,
third season's the best one so far.
But you see, the thing is, I've read it. You know, I've been with Invincible since the comic. You know, Ryan Otley is one of my favorite artists. Kirkman is one of the best writers going. So,
hell yeah,
I know what happened.
That's we were talking to John and Dan yesterday, and Ryan Otley is actually going to be doing an exclusive cover variant for their first book.
Sweet.
So it'll be Jonathan Glapion, Todd McFarlane, and Ryan Otley, all with covers on their first, The Curse of Shirley Jackson, which I thought is pretty.
That's a hell of a start.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a lineup.
Where the hell do you go from there?
You don't. You're good. You hang up the gloves and you walk off into the sunset. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's so cool. I've been a fan of Ryan Otley since Haunt. So, from Haunt, I that was how I discovered him, and then I retroactively then discovered Invincible, and couldn't stop reading it. You know, just. Yeah. I remember when the last issue of Invincible, and a comic book artist friend of mine here in Ireland, a guy named Cormac, he came up to me. We were standing outside. There's a huge bookshop in like the the heart of Dublin city centre. We were all getting ready for Dublin Comic Con, and it was that Wednesday the last issue of Invincible came out, and he just approached us with this very somber kind of look on his face, and we asked him, like, what was up, and he goes, "Oh no, it's nothing. It's just comics are over now. You know, last issue of Invincible, comics are done." And it was just, it was the fact that it was clearly his favorite book. Clearly, you know, it was clearly his favorite work at the time, at least, or one of his favorites. And just seeing the weight of it on it was so funny. It was so funny. So, I kind of always equate the end of Invincible with the kind of a pinnacle of comics ending.
Well, shoot, yeah, no, I have not read this story, so I have not caught up to date. But
It's so insane where it goes.
I can't even imagine. I mean, even the first 3 seasons, I was like, "Shit, this is good." So,
no, it's wild, dude. It is wild where it goes.
Is it worth the read? I should just spoil it and get it over with, or what?
You won't lose out on anything. You're still going to get the same entertainment. You know, I mean, look, obviously, there's no better way to enjoy something than to watch it and to see it play out in front of you. But I have to say the comic book is every bit as entertaining and enjoyable. So strongly recommend it.
Take your word for it. I guess my next year for your story, I know you are keeping it tight-lipped, but could you at least kind of say what genre you're going for at this point in stage? Obviously, everything's up to change, but
so for the one I'm working on presently, say dark fantasy.
Dark fantasy. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so
Yeah. Your art style would be sweet for dark fantasy.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of, let's say, you know, From Software, or like the Souls games, or even like the likes of Neo or any of those games, well, that would be kind of my area where I would feel most comfortable. But yeah, that's the one I'm working on presently. Is kind of dark, kind of all sorts of architectural styles, you know, Gothic, Romanesque, Art Deco, all that kind of fun stuff.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, that's gonna be sweet. Well, guys, I want to remind you we're an hour and a half into this live drawing. If you guys want to raise your hand, come up on stage, ask a question. Meta Rover, I know you raised your hand a little bit ago. I shot you an invite, so feel free to come up on stage, or you could type them out in chat. That works too. You really going into detail on this thing. It just keeps looking better and better. I love the skulls. The 3D of the skulls looks super legit.
Thank you. Awesome. That's good news. It means it's working. Yeah, it's and it's funny. I don't even consider it very detailed. I'm just kind of putting shapes where they need to be now, and we're almost ready to start shading it up and get it to nearly a stepping off point or a finish point. So I'll be working on this all day tomorrow, mostly.
Well, you could probably end up using it for a cover.
Hey, if they want it, they can have it.
Hell yeah.
So do you guys have a lot more scheduled for the summer?
And in terms of live drawings, or like, what do you mean by that?
Just events and whatnot, all the good stuff that you do here.
Yeah, I mean, we were always kind of doing things, reaching out. I know Jake's talking to Mark Silvestri, so we're looking to get some more guests here for sure. We got drops. That's the thing about this digital space. We've been around. OddKey's been around for what, almost 5 years now. So there's periods of, you know, it's just whenever we can get people that like yourself to come by and stop by. We've, you know, Martin Nodell, you met him earlier, or Quinn, you met his grandson. We've had you know, creator of Green Lantern. We've had all sorts of different unique experiences here in them. So just whenever people are available, and Todd definitely comes in here. He'll do like portfolio reviews where he allows people to kind of submit their portfolios, and he'll go in and look and critique and give advice.
That's huge. Like, that's so huge. I mean, God, I would have killed for that when I was starting out first.
It has been pretty insane. And I feel like I'm not even an artist, but I feel like I could even give tips at this point just from hearing so much knowledge and wisdom from.
Yeah, you're going to pick it up passively, dude. Like, that's just, absolutely. Spend enough time around something, you kind of just get to know it.
Definitely. No, yeah, it's actually super unique for me personally, just because I wasn't super into comics before. I was more kind of into crypto and NFTs,
Mm-hmm.
kind of discovered the world of comics. Obviously, I've always been a pop culture nerd. That's just
Sure.
a given. But I was never into the comic side of things until kind of got more involved with OddKey and diversified and doing other things around in the Web3 space with comic creators. And
Mm-hmm.
shit, man, now I'm all in. I've been collecting books. I got way too much stuff and not enough room for it. So
But that's the idea. I mean, it's like this whole thing of like it's a competition to get into comics. It's like, when people say, "Oh, I wasn't into it when I was young." It's like, oh, like, are you into it now?
yeah, exactly. Are you ever
it's like
cool with comics? I mean,
it's like I yeah, exactly. And it's like, and the answer is no. You're never cool in comics. No one is. It's just you just like it. It's a form of art. It's a medium. It's like, oh, I was into comics before everyone else. Okay, cool. We're still into it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And it's really special to me too, is because most of what I collect is from people that I have gotten the chance to speak to personally up here on stage.
yeah, that's
like,
awesome.
oh,
Yeah, that's so cool.
Find their work, and then now I definitely, I'm a fan of yours, Kevin. So I'll be collecting your book every time everything gets released. So
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that.
to have
But
that
I mean,
kind of extra connection instead of just being, never talking to artists. I feel like it's more on the fan side. Building that connection makes it even more special.
For sure. And that's the thing that I kind of admire Todd for as well, is that there's plenty of examples out there of comic book creators who kind of just took their notoriety, or they took their success with them, and they never really connected with their fans after. And that's one thing Todd has absolutely mastered, is keeping the fans connected at all times. That's something that sets him apart from everybody else when it comes to managing a comic book publisher, or just in general managing comic book properties. He's just excellent at making sure that people feel connected to it, and it's something that I admire. So it's something I've learned actually from doing these drawing sessions, and from doing these drawing sessions, and from just making comic books for so long now, is that when I'm getting ready to actually sit down and do the art for my own stories, I'm most likely just going to do them like this. I'll probably live stream them and just chat to people as I do, because comic books is boring. When I say boring, I mean it's an isolated career. So, you spend a lot of time on your own. So having an audience to chat to, or people that you can kind of just bounce ideas off of, I mean, all these comic books nowadays are made in secret. How cool would it be for, fans to get to throw their opinion into the hat and see,
Absolutely. And I honestly, I totally agree with you. That's why I kind of see the power of like something like this community and Discord so much. This is not the only Discord where, there's other artists that utilize Discord and have built their community to where it's kind of like it's their clubhouse. They'll go in and interact with their community, show what they're working on to their fans and get input. Mark Spears is an example of this. He hops in his Discord on a daily basis, getting input from his fans. He'll hop in chats, just decompress. Because, like you said, art can be isolating. You're in here just drawing on it all the time and not going outside. We're all low key hermits in our own right, so it's nice having a space where you can kind of just decompress and talk to people and show
100%.
off all while you're doing your work. And that, on top of that, it adds an extra layer of connection to your fans, because then they're feeling like they're involved in part of the creation process, and now you have a fan for life, and it really builds
exactly, and you hit the nail on the head. And I think what else is kind of cool too is, I always equate it back to when I was younger, I used to idolize heavy metal musicians, because that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a drummer in a metal band, and I did. I became a drummer in a couple of metal bands.
Drumstick flair, or what? You could do the twirling with your fingers.
Oh yeah. I've been doing that since I was 14, showing off. but it's just fancy stuff. Like it's not gonna get the job done, but it looks cool. But I've been looking up to heavy metal musicians since I was very young, and I always found that if I watched the behind the scenes DVD, if you got like the deluxe edition of like an album or something, and you get to watch as the album is made, You get to see the behind the scenes as they were recording the album and whatnot. It just super attaches you to the final product, and then when you're listening to the album, you feel like you were there when they were making it.
Absolutely.
At least it was
it's like
for me.
Drive on Formula One. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't even imagine how that Netflix show, how many more Formula One fans there are just because people got to actually know the drivers.
Exactly. And so, it creates that idea in my head of like, okay, I think comic books are niche enough to actually have the same effect. I think you could sit down and sit in on a drawing stream or an art stream, especially if you're an aspiring artist, because you're going to learn a wealth of information. Like if you're sat down watching, a seasoned professional who's been at this a long time making their work. I mean, if let's say, for example, if Mark Silvestri or Ryan Otley were to create an art stream, I would be there every day.
Exactly. Because I totally agree. I think, and it's crazy too, because Discord is different than other social media platforms. It allows you to kind of just bring people up and have that interaction, which I think is unique. But if you're doing it like on YouTube or Instagram or those other ones, it's a little more one-sided just because you can't really have a vocal conversation with the artist. But there's so much value in watching these professional creators create. And it's the Discord, I think, is a barrier in a sense, because we'll have live drawings with Todd McFarlane and there'll only be 100 people in here. And if you announce that to the world, I mean, who wouldn't jump at that opportunity to watch him draw live?
100%.
So I think it's just a combination of kind of getting the exposure out there, as well as just getting on that opportunity to watch these creators draw live. And I think personally, I want Ryan Otley to get in here next. That's going to be my goal.
Hell yeah! Oh God, I would love that. If that does happen, if that does happen, tell me, because
I would love, for sure.
I would love to be here, because again, like even for guys like me, looking at somebody that has inspired me, I mean, no, I don't draw anything like Ryan, but I have been very influenced by the fluidity of his anatomy, the way he draws things. He's very natural. He's very authentic. So just to get to see him do it in real life, or just to witness him do it, I would love that personally, because at the end of the day, I'm a massive nerd when it comes to art. So that's just that's just how it is.
Well, you gotta be. I mean, it's your passion.
Exactly. So now I'm going to.
I've seen so many different artists draw, like from step zero to maybe not a fully complete piece, because there's time limits, but it's just so cool to watch the different ways an artist attacks a drawing, or how they'll shade at something here and there, or when they're explaining their process. I've learned there's no one right style, and you got to find what's right for you, and it just takes reps.
Yep, that's it in a nutshell, dude. You just got to do it over and over and over again until it looks good. It's
easier said than done.
Oh, absolutely. You see, when I get asked, it's the most common question. Look, Todd's been asked it a million times. I've been asked it a million times. Everyone who finds themselves working on stuff that gets out into the wider world will be asked, what's your best advice, or how to get better at drawing. And I wish
10,000 hours rule.
Absolutely, and I wish there was an easier answer. I wish there was an easier answer to give, but unfortunately,
little matrix upload a chip into the brain.
Yeah, I mean, if only. So, 1 second. There we go.
This piece is really coming along. Shout out to all you guys listening in still in the audience. I know you guys are super excited to get this piece. This is gonna be sweet.
That fun, badass face is amazing. It happens to me something really funny, because when I always am trying to draw Spawn from imagination, I think that, I don't know why, but it happens like in just two ways. Or the face looks totally badass, or it just looks like a chibi Spawn or something like that. I don't know why. I just still working on the eyes, maybe. I don't know, the face, the teeth.
He's tricky, dude. He's tricky. Yeah, I mean,
I draw him and it looks totally badass, even if it's a 45 degrees angle or a front angle, I don't know. But suddenly I make a different tooth, or maybe the nose. I don't know if I add or I doesn't include the nose. but sometimes it looks totally badass, and sometimes it just looks like a chibi spawn.
It can happen. Yeah, I mean, I think when I was working out this sketch earlier today in preparation for this, I think I spent about an hour alone on his face, just kind of getting,
Really?
getting acquainted with the kind of skull, because that's what I initially I was going to do him in his classic mask, and then I was like, nah, I think it'd be fun to kind of make him gnarly, and make him nice and skeletal.
This guy looks like he could fuck up Darth Maul.
That's the idea. I mean, my idea, my process is always very much directed or directly attached to the character if it can be. I always try to think about, who's he going to kick someone? If he's going to kick someone's ass, who's it going to be? So is it going to be, if I'm thinking Spawn, it's like that. It's Darth Maul. It's guys like that. It's Batman. It's can he go toe to toe with them? And if he looks like he can, then he can. And that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to making the characters look strong.
So you're moving on to the shading. Oh, go ahead, JB.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just gonna say that Create My Comment says this could end up to be one of my favorite pieces.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I love cell shading. I love that kind of animation style shading approach that they have. It's just so novel and simple, but it adds so much. It's like it's just one of those things. It's just full of life, texture. So I'm just kind of winging it and hoping for the best.
When you're approaching your shading process, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking like where the light source is, or?
Yeah, the light source is king.
Light source is king.
The light source determines everything. So, I kind of let the drawing come forward first, and then over time I'll flesh it out more. And as it's becoming more fleshed and I start to see, the natural contours and shapes emerge, I'll then start to, highlight certain things and detail certain things, just so we get a nice cool visual at the end.
You usually work with like hard lights, right, Kevin, and not so faded.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Sorry, dude.
Oh yeah, no worry. You usually work with hard lights and not so faded out illumination.
I like hard lighting. I like intense lighting. Yeah,
You're
I like it when there's nice big shapes and shadows. You get nice. I don't know. It just looks more interesting. I just think it looks more dramatic and it looks cooler. But again, I like showing off the individual areas as well. I don't like things getting too lost.
Yep. Yeah. By the way, we drop here monthly our proof of attendance patch. Like these are, I don't know if you mentioned before in the event, Bram, that our POAPs that are proof of attendance patch. These are digital collectibles for our members who attend to our online events. So we drop on March, if I'm not wrong, our amazing cover from She Spawn, the She Spawn cover with all the guns on the background.
That was a cool one. That was a cool one. It's a nod to a Slipknot cover.
How did you came up with this concept about the guns wall?
The gun wall was you see. So I'm a huge fan of like the Punisher series from like back in the early '90s with Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon, and they kind of made it iconic that Punisher had this giant gun room, and as She Spawn was getting more known when she first started out, she was always drawn with these huge extravagant guns. And I really liked it. I thought it was awesome. So I kind of just went about it my own way instead of, showing off all the guns like the other artists have done, and exceptionally well, might I add. I just opted to kind of go a slightly different route with it and just show a giant gun rack. And the idea was, they like, the old phrase, diamonds are a girl's best friend. Well, in the idea of a She Spawn, I imagine her armory would probably be her best friend.
Yeah.
That was the
Oh,
kind of thought
and
process.
also the pose, I think it's great, the pose that you gave her, because it's something like, I don't know, at least for me, my perception was like, she's telling like, this wall is mine, but it also looks like a sexy pose, obviously, because of the female character.
Yeah, I mean that's the fun of it, you know. I mean, I like drawing attractive characters, and I like making them have a bit of sex appeal. You know, they have to have an edge, especially you know, this isn't Superman. This is She Spawn.
Yeah.
You know, she's metal as fuck. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
add a bit of a sexy edge to her, and it's a nod actually. Her pose is a nod to a Slipknot album because I'm a huge Slipknot fan, and
Really?
yeah, it's I think it's the fifth Slipknot album, The Grey Chapter.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
this really that's where I reference the pose. So
What song?
it's
The
the
Q-pop song?
I love is it Custer on that
Okay.
one is a great track. But yeah, so like I was listening to that album when I was coming up with some ideas for covers, and I saw the album cover and I was like, you know, that's that kind of Slipknot have that lovely kind of horror twisted circus vibe going on.
Oh,
So
you're right. You're right. Now that you're saying it, yeah, it is the pose of the schools, the schoolgirls.
and it's just I don't know, I felt like it worked. I just thought it looked really cool when I played around with the idea, and then eventually I was drawing 50 guns on a wall.
Yeah.
One thing led to another.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, I'm actually a big Slipknot fan too, by the way. I have some
Good
memorabilia of
man.
them on my collection.
Yeah, I'm an OG. I was an evangelist of Slipknot back in the day.
Yeah, awesome. And are there any other groups that you get inspired when you're working on your
Oh yeah,
pieces?
I listen to music constantly while I work. Yeah, I'm always listening to heavy metal while I work. If you wanna write really, or if you wanna like draw really gnarly monsters and stuff, just listen to Whitechapel.
Oh,
Listen to Whitechapel while you're drawing monsters. You'll make some gnarly stuff.
yeah. Gojira is another band that I
Oh,
like.
yeah,
Here too, Gojira, for example.
Gojira, amazing. I
All
love
the
Gojira.
Remains, Bullet for My Valentine, maybe too sometimes.
Some OG metalcore.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. We love it. I
Yeah,
saw
is there any specific song that I don't know? Let me see if I can ask you rightly this. Like, sometimes you think I need to hear this song to start drawing. Do you have
Yes.
any song in mind that you love?
Yeah, absolutely. All the time. Yeah, all the time. I identify with a lot of music. So I mean, if I'm lacking to kind of get in the zone, or if I'm kind of sluggish someday and it's not quite clicking for me, you know, if I'm trying to get a certain expression or a certain pose, throwing on something really, really brutal or something really, really intense can definitely get you there. You know, it can kind of pump up the adrenaline so that your creative kind of juices start flowing a bit more authentically and naturally. You're not forcing it as much. You know, like the second Suicide Silence album will definitely get you there if you're trying to come up with some cool horror stuff, because
Yeah.
that's basically what that album is. Or, you know, like the second Slipknot album, Iowa, you know, you're gonna get something out of that. It's a very intense album, so absolutely. If you're expressive, at least if your artwork is expressive.
Yeah, definitely. No, it always helps to get inspiration on the feelings that you need to evoke. I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's
You-
art. Absolutely.
yeah. Parkway Drive is another band that I like to. That it's, I think they're
Oh,
from UK,
Australia.
from Australia. Oh, okay.
They're Aussies. Yeah, they're Aussies. I love Parkway Drive. I wasn't a big fan of them when they first came around back in the day.
Yeah.
I was into a particular style of metal at the time when they kind of came around. But as time went on, I grew to really appreciate them and I grew to really enjoy their stuff. And I think they're done now, or at least they're kind of back, I think. But when they finished up first, They were really strong. They were a hell of a loss when they stopped touring.
Yeah. Yeah, funny thing that happened to me, I think that the last few years I start listening to more heavier metal that maybe I thought I didn't like it at, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago.
Sure.
Some thrash metal and all that stuff. But
Yeah, it happens. It happens, dude. I mean, I was never a huge. I mean, for years and years, I was never a fan of progressive metal or rock or progressive rock or any of that stuff. But as I reached my 20s, when I was a teenager, I just wanted the fastest, heaviest metal I could get my hands on. But
and
as
you thought that Metallica was the heavier metal.
I've always hated Metallica.
Right.
I've always hated Metallica. Oh my God, don't get me started on those guys. My brother is going to die laughing because I antagonize. My brother's a diehard Metallica fan, and I antagonize him daily over liking Metallica. But no, for me, I started to soften somewhat as I was getting a bit older. I started to listen to the likes of Tool and A Perfect Circle and whatnot. And I found that I actually musically started to really enjoy them more so. And so I started to kind of learn that style of music playing and eventually fell in love with it. So I get to kind of have fun with all the forms of metal nowadays, thankfully. And it helps with drawing too. So I get to listen to it all the time.
Yeah, I think that the opposite happened to me. I started listening for example, Arch Enemy.
Arch Enemy, oh yeah, baby.
Yeah.
I feel so left out of this conversation. I don't know anything about what the hell you guys are talking about.
It's just metal.
Oh, you were either there or you weren't. That's the kind of thing with this genre of music. It's like you were either there to experience it or you weren't. It's one of those things.
I got Whitechapel queued up though, Kevin. So when I go play some basketball later, we'll see if it gets my mind right.
I'll tell you right now. Okay, if you put on the Saw Is the Law to get you hyped up before a game, you're going to win.
You're going to win. The Saw Is the Law. All right, I'm adding it right now to my.
Yeah, absolutely. But Arch Enemy. Now you're talking like that.
You're talking.
Yeah. Those early Arch Enemy albums are.
Yeah, Arch Enemy, Avenged Sevenfold 2. I'm a big fan of Avenged Sevenfold 2.
Yep. Yeah, you're a man of taste, I see.
Yeah, I can suggest you a song. If you like to kill it, Rem, and go dunk on somebody's face, say no, you can dunk. Go search for Deliver Me from Parkway Drive.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Deliver Me, Parkway Drive. You just need 5 seconds of that song to go kill somebody.
That sounds good. If I'm ever in the murdering mood.
I saw Gojira live when I was I think I was 15. When they first started out.
Really?
I saw them on their first album, and it was so intense. I'd been to metal concerts before, but I had never experienced anything as intense as that. And I think that was it for me. After that, I don't think I could go to an event or a concert ever again and be excited. It ruined it for me straight out the gate because I'm then being invited to Status Quo with my brother and whatnot, and it's like, really?
I feel that. I recently, you know the Vegas Sphere.
Yeah.
I recently just went to a Grateful Dead concert in the Sphere, and I was right up front, so the whole screen would take up your entire peripheral vision. So,
oh my God,
I felt like I was on drugs the whole time. It was insane. The Sphere,
yeah.
I highly recommend it at least one time in your life. Because it looks so futuristic, even the walkways below the Sphere. I felt like I was straight out of a Tron movie or some shit. And
I've been to Vegas once before, back when I was in my 20s, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was wild. But since that Sphere has gone in, it's crazy to me how they've managed to put so many wild monuments like that in one place.
Yeah,
in the desert. It's crazy.
Doesn't
I just
reasonable when you think about it, but I guess it's just gonna keep getting bigger.
It's why I love America, really. I mean, I remember when I was there, a buddy of mine who was living next door, he said, Vegas is it's the best and worst parts of America all rolled up into one city and just put on display with no shame.
Literally.
And I don't know why, I just respect it. I just do. It's like there's something about a place that knows it's classy and seedy at the same time. You know, it's like they know it's glorious and they know it's trashy and they're cool with it. And I just respect it when a place just knows what it is. I guess I just love that.
They play their part well, that's for sure.
It's the same with Holland. You know, you hear people, you know, say that the Dutch are, you know, the Dutch can be, you know, sharp or whatnot compared to other Europeans. I love the Dutch. I adore the Dutch because they just get on with it. You know, they don't screw around. They want to go home or they want to go out. That's their way. And every time I go there, I enjoy it more and I enjoy them more.
Hell yeah. Got to visit Holland then too one day, huh?
Hell yeah. Oh, I highly recommend. Everybody should go to Holland.
Wow,
So,
this is really coming together, Kevin. Oh, the chains, everything about it's sick.
yeah, I'm happy with the face now. That's come out nice. So I'm gonna go just a little bit longer, and then I have to go because then I'm being
Yeah, no
terribly.
worries. Whenever
But-
whenever you want to call it, feel free. This has been absolutely amazing. It's been recorded on YouTube for those of you guys that missed out or just tuning in. Todd was in here for the first 30 minutes or so, hanging out, asking Kevin some questions. So that was pretty cool. I would recommend going back and listening to that because this piece has developed pretty substantially since the start. Jeff said, "I'm scared of Holland because I don't want to feel short." Is that a
That's a deep cut. That's a good line. It's not as intimidating as you think. The Dutch are very tall. Yeah, they're very tall people. It's kind of crazy.
Like how tall are we talking? Like 6'5", 6'6"?
I think the average. I mean, I could be completely wrong now. So any Dutch people out there, don't judge me too harshly. You know, I'm just a lowly Irish boy. But I think it's like 6'3" or 6'5". You know, they're
average
huge.
height?
Well, I don't know if it's the average, but it's a lot of, like, I mean, when you go around, you know, I know people who've lived in Rotterdam. My cousin lives in Amsterdam. I've been to Amsterdam a bunch of times. You know, you can't miss them. They're huge people, and they're rangy too. You know, so like, you know, they big strides, big movements. It's awesome. It's a great place.
They make their presence known.
They do, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know where you are. You know, you're never going to be stuck around a Dutch city and go, God, I wonder where I am. Right?
Damn.
You spawned in, you know, in a random city in Europe.
Jeff says he's 6'3" and he'll feel like a child. I'm 6'3". I usually don't feel like a child, but I guess you're gonna have to go meet my maker.
I'm 6'1", and this conversation is intimidating me.
That's funny.
Okay, I'm gonna keep my height on my mouth.
So as long as it starts with a 6, right? I'm just kidding.
Right?
So what? I mean, I know you said you might work on this a little bit tomorrow. What sort of color palette were you thinking?
Let's find out. Let's find out together.
Love it.
Best answer.
Let's so like just to get an idea of what kind of green I want to use. No.
Ooh.
You see that now would be kind of cool. There's all sorts of stuff we can do.
Yeah, I always love this part when you get into the colors and just can see all the worlds of possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that you could do now is you could start with that. You could maybe reduce it down maybe a small bit and then add in some cool greens and whatnot. Maybe, yeah, we'll play around with
For
it.
your own book, are you planning on doing the writing, paneling, and coloring all yourself, or have you?
I'm gonna try and kind of do as much of it myself as I can. You know, I'll do as much of it as I can because obviously, you know, if it's my work, it's my baby. I want to try and have as much of my hand on it as possible. I just realized I shaded that whole art, actually taking into account the light source, so we're just gonna get rid of all that. So I'm gonna have as much of my hand present as possible. And if I need to bring people in various different areas, I will. It's necessary. Like I'm sure everybody would love it if Todd was drawing Spawn every issue and then also doing every other issue because it's his baby. But it's just not possible all at once. So, he has to bring in other people who are just as good in their own respects. So, ideally, I'll do as much of it as I can myself.
For sure.
But being realistic about it, you got to make sure that you can actually. There's only so many hours in the day.
That absolutely. Well, because I don't know if you've ever met Mark Spears, but he's another artist that's pretty.
I love his work. Yeah, I love his work.
Here at OddKey, he comes around quite a bit, but he does everything himself, the whole book, pretty much, except for the word bubbles. He's doing the the art, the illustration. So I've always was like, damn, like that's got to be a lot. And so
it is.
I know because he's been doing that for years, and so originally it would take him so long to do just one page, just himself, because he's doing everything.
Yep.
And it was not feasible for a long time, but he eventually got to a level where he's now can bust out a whole issue of a comic book himself in just a couple of weeks, and that's just reps, time, and so I think that adds even more layers like specialness to it, because if you're doing the whole thing yourself, that's a whole next level. Because most comics these days are done by 3 or 4 people.
Well, that's it.
Totally reasonable, but as a fan, it's just so much more captivating to know that wow, he just did everything. So
I hear you. No, I hear you completely, and I'd be inclined to agree. I mean, it's incredible what Mark does, and I would definitely find I'm inspired by that kind of thinking too, for sure. I think I would absolutely fall into the bracket of someone who would like to do it there, like what you're saying, like reps and just constantly over and over again having the time to kind of do it. Absolutely, that's music to my ears. So all going well, that's what it will be. But man makes plans, as they say. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe one day we can get you guys in a conversation together, and you guys can pick each other's brains.
I'd love that. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Get some insight on his shortcuts.
A true Alabama boy and a true Irishman. That'll be a fun conversation.
I love the Southern accent. And it's like, I could listen to it forever. It's awesome.
Yeah, this is sweet. Who's excited to be able to collect this digital collectible, this King Spawn? It's going to be pretty next level.
Definitely me. Oh, by the way, Jeff Monk says that what Mark make is witchcraft. There's no other word. Witchcraft.
Witchcraft. I always love that line from is it David Dasmalchian, who does the Knights versus Samurai book with Todd. He was in the Ant-Man movie, and it's a line. It creases me in half every single time I hear it. Is when he reveals that he's Ant-Man, and he becomes tiny, and Dasmalchian's response I think it's a Russian accent. He's like, "This is the work of gypsies."
This is the work of gypsies.
Oh my god! Every time I hear it, I'm sold. It's just so funny. This is the work of gypsies.
Yeah, that is a good one.
No, Mark's work, and his work is super vibrant too. It's super vibrant and super like explosive. So the fact that he's able to knock all that out on his own is super impressive.
Absolutely. I just the Gypsies comic got me thinking about it. Have you seen Peaky Blinders?
Yeah, of course.
You excited for the movie coming up?
I'll be honest with you. I mean, how could you not be? I think. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of the show. All in all, I found there was it was flawed in its own way. But I'm from the same place as Cillian Murphy, and I love supporting an Irish person. I'm from the same city as Cillian, so I think he's one of the most talented actors probably ever. And the fact that he came from this tiny little part of the world is crazy to me. But the movie, I hope, doesn't suffer from the same directorial issues that the series did.
Yeah,
You know,
I think the first couple seasons of Peaky Blinders were great, and it kind of just got a little interesting.
Yeah, it just kind of lost its momentum, and I hope they capitalize on Killian in the sense that, you know, it's one thing acting for a series and it's another thing acting for a film, and he has always done well no matter what he's been in. But by the same token, he just flourishes in film when it's a focused affair. He's just so good. So I really hope the directorial or the director that's involved makes the most of him, so that, you know, it kind of rectifies those issues the later seasons had.
100%. Yeah, they just finished filming that a couple days ago, so I'm
awesome. No, that's going to be sweet.
There's a current series called Mobland. I know you would like. Al.
I can't wait to watch it. I cannot wait to watch it. Pierce Brosnan.
They were great. I mean, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I love Tom Hardy and I love Pierce Brosnan. So,
who doesn't love a good mob boss show?
Oh yeah, especially in the UK. You know, that accent just carries it. You know,
Tom Hardy's UK accent is so funny to me. He does it in so many different shows and movies.
Well, I think War took it out of him.
You've seen Warrior, right? With Tom
Oh
Hardy?
yeah. Oh
yeah,
God,
that's top tier.
It's one of the best films I've ever seen.
I agree.
It's one of the most outstandingly personal films. The dude, I couldn't believe this. The dude who made Warrior is the same dude who made The Accountant.
Really?
With Ben Affleck, yeah.
The Accountant 2's been coming out soon.
Yeah, I'm seeing the trailers for it. It looks a bit. Am I right in saying? Am I not? I mean, correct me now, but am I out of line in saying that it looks a bit more popcorn than the original?
Yeah, I don't really know what to expect. I wasn't expecting a number 2 dropping 10 years later, to be honest.
No, neither was it. That's a good way of putting it. That's a very good way of putting it. I don't know, man. It was just it was a weird one. I saw the trailer and it's like from the opening line in the trailer, they spoil the reveal of the first film. And it's like, okay, so if you didn't see the first one, the big hook's gone. So
yeah. Yeah, and I think number 2 is gonna have John Bernthal a lot more, and he's good at killing people on camera.
That's not a bad thing. I like John in most things he does.
Yeah,
when he's given good material, he's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's the key part.
Yeah, because those Punisher series were dreadful.
Gavin O'Connor, interesting. He's the director of Warrior. I'm looking up into him. The Accountant. Yeah, that's pretty much all. That's pretty much all he's known for.
Dude came out swinging and showed us all he's got it. You know.
Yeah. There's a lot of other movies that I've never heard of, but.
Yeah, that's generally how it goes.
Well, fellas, we're coming up over 2 hours now. Kevin's been drawing for us. Thank you so much for doing this. This has been awesome. But if you guys want to get your questions, then now is the time.
I'm only going to stick around for maybe 10 minutes. So
10-minute warning, fellas. If you guys want to get your questions in or comments or just want to chat with Kevin, it doesn't have to be a question necessarily. Raise your hand. Come on up. Now's your chance. He will be yeah, and there's no rush on doing the colors or anything. If you got other work you got to get done, but this will
cheers. Yeah, rock and roll. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm kind of into it now, so I want to kind of.
But I mean, no, this is definitely going to be Insta post worthy. This is.
Yeah, it's getting late here now. I'm just realizing because I've been working all day as well. I just realized I pretty much did I wasn't even planning on doing a full work day today, and it just ended up kind of happening on me. So.
Yeah, it's like what 10 o'clock over there now, huh?
Yeah, just coming up on 10:15. So.
Sheesh. What are you and your buddies planning on doing? Just hanging out?
Hanging out. Probably going to discuss some F1. Probably going to discuss some other world affair. Who knows? Just a Saturday night chill out. You know.
Hell yeah.
The week is done. We'll save the world tomorrow.
Save the world tomorrow. Yeah. Easter's. You got. Yeah. I mean, you celebrate Easter?
Yeah, we're Ireland. I mean, it's not what it used to be, but those of us who were born before 2005, we're still relatively in tow with the calendar.
It seems like all holidays aren't what they used to be, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of crappy because they were good.
We got a question in the audience. If you could have a minor superpower, nothing you could exploit into being a superhero or villain, what would it be? A minor superpower. Interesting.
I've actually had this conversation before, and we actually came up with the perfect answer for it a long time ago. Curly vision.
What is it?
Curly vision.
Curly vision?
Yeah, seeing around corners.
You being able to see around corners before you see that?
Yeah. I mean, like, imagine you're playing cards.
Wow.
You know, it's got its utility, but it's not quite supervillain. You know.
That's crazy. I've never heard that answer before. Corner.
Yeah, curly vision.
Like more than 5 seconds. Like, is he really telling curly vision? But now that you explain it to us, it definitely makes sense.
Curly vision. Because, I mean, X-ray vision is cheating. You know, X-ray vision is kind of like, dude, come on. Like, you're looking through the wall. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
But curly vision, you're not looking through anything. You're looking around things. That's just a slight advantage.
That's refraction right there. They can't hate on you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. If you hate that, you hate science. You don't hate science, do you?
That's hilarious. Ham Bear Pig, Ham's the one that asked the question. What's going on, man?
So I had to go run and grab my headphones because that's the first original one I've heard in a very long time. I've heard a lot, like a whole ton of them, and some of them are way too powerful, and some of them aren't. Some of them are weird. And
yeah, it's the sweet spot.
But that's the first one I've heard in a long time that I hadn't heard yet. So
I'm glad that my answer. I'm glad that my answer compelled you to grab a headset. That's cool.
Yeah, well, I had to run and grab the headset.
You know, because like, how many answers do you hear and it doesn't even make you react? You're just like, that's stupid. You know. So the fact that
and I get a lot of repeat answers and a lot of
Yeah. Don't give me that breathe underwater nonsense. You know.
Right. I know where your keys are. Yeah, I get that one. I have heard that one 40 times. But,
Yeah. No, but curly vision. Just think about it. You're driving. You know, you'll never need to wait for lights again.
That's amazing.
Except for cameras.
See, you're only as limited as your. So you know, I can't tell you how to use your powers. You know, it's up to you to figure out how to get around all the obstacles.
That's wild. All right, if you could have a major superpower, though, what would it be?
Honestly, I was thinking about this not so long ago. Like, what would be the most useful present-day superpower? And it's got to be Magneto, right?
I don't know. Reality manipulation's pretty good.
Oh, if you're trying to take over the world, yeah, probably.
You know, like just nobody can contend with it. And as well, being realistic too. You know, I mean, being realistic, we're talking about superpowers, but you know, being realistic about it. You know,
it's not the most realistic right now. But
no. So look, we're all having fun here, but like I guess the way I would look at it is be somewhat realistic about what's viable. I mean, mind reading, that's a bit of a stretch. You know.
I always say teleportation just because I'd want to teleport to the top of the coolest mountain, snowboard down, and then just teleport home. And I don't have to worry about it.
But what's the point of snowboarding if you can? What's the point of snowboarding if you can teleport?
What do you mean? I get the floating, the action of snowboarding. I feel like is so fun in itself. It doesn't matter. I mean, getting to the top is the hard part. It's coming down.
Fair. So you're saying for a logistical reason?
Oh yeah, I could. Teleport over to Ireland right now, and we could go have some drinks tonight, and then I could come back and sleep in my own bed.
Yeah, I like that idea. Like, so you're saying teleportation, but not Nightcrawler, you know, because he's got to see where he's going.
No,
you're just like I will it.
Exactly. It could get, there could be some complicated issues with that. I'm sure. We're not talking logistics here.
Oh, damn,
this is
in the middle of the
this is my-
statue.
It's my favorite thing to do whenever the topic of superpowers comes into the conversation is where would the real world applications come, because that's the most fun.
Exactly.
Everybody likes to talk about it like they'd become a superhero. No, you wouldn't. You'd be a menace.
Yeah, you'd be
You'd be
a terrible person.
Yeah, you would. You'd be an absolutely reprehensible piece of shit, and then you'd realize, oh, I can actually save people. Hey.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be using my powers to be noticed or anything. It's for my own convenience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. These are my powers. No one else gets to have them.
And I'm going to use your answer for how I explain this question to people, because I ask this question to people all the time, and sometimes they just go, "Huh? Huh?"
Yeah.
And I
No, I hear you.
That's going in the example pool.
Roger that. I hope it brings you many interesting conversations.
Yeah, I was super excited to hear that. So.
So in this case, Kevin, would you prefer to be a superhero or a villain?
I mean, everybody says that being a villain is cooler, but since I've gotten 2 dogs, I've come to realize that being the hero is probably the better option. Because like dogs wouldn't like you if you were a villain, and I really like my.
Look like more badass with dogs.
You certainly could, but I mean, you're not exactly a badass if you're like, scratching your dogs behind their ears, giving them that weird dog voice that everybody uses when they see their pet. But no, I mean, I the way I see it is, God, this is a weird conversation. But I think being a hero would be a kind of a better idea. Especially nowadays, there's too many villains, too many bad things happening.
Yeah, we already have a lot of villains in our humanity, right?
The dilemma then comes in like the super ethical, like the ethics questions, which is like, one person to save a million, kind of thing at that point.
But the great thing is that you're the person with the superpowers, so you get to. So
you're the ultimate moral authority in this case, I guess, huh?
Well, that's it, right? I mean, Remy, you're thinking about going to law school, right? You're going to weigh in on this, like, when it comes to ethics, it's down to who can enforce their will.
It really is. I mean, yeah, I've been in a philosophy class, reading Hobbes and Locke and Aristotle and Plato and just a bunch of different takes on ethics and moralism, and it comes down to whether or not you believe there is a God, a creator outside the universe, or if you don't, then the superior moral authority is whoever's capable of enforcing it.
That's it. So, I think the best way to describe it is just look at Homelander. Right? Just look. Homelander is the most authentic example. If Superman actually existed, that's pretty much what he'd be.
Super accurate.
I was about to say that we are just digging on the boys' history right now.
But it's
I do
crazy.
feel like that is super accurate, though.
But it is. It's because that's what humans are. We're flawed. We're flawed by nature. It's not that we choose to be. It's that we just are. And if one of us was able to do everything with impunity, they would do everything with impunity.
Yeah.
We're all accumulated, a bunch of all the messed up things that happened to us with all the good things that happened to us, and whatever that messed up bundle turns out to. So, I mean, you gotta look at how he was raised.
Well, that's it.
Yeah,
there's all sorts of factors. So the way to look at superpowers would be, okay, who's super bad and who's super good? Okay, well then you know what they're going to do. People aren't very good at hiding their. So they're bad, then they'll give you plenty evidence to show it. So if I got superpowers in the morning, I would probably use them for good, probably. But my enemies would suffer. So can't exactly say I'm benevolent either.
I'd probably be a little self-serving myself, but it's probably
everyone would. Everyone would. You gotta at least get a good bank account out of superpowers, at the very least.
Yeah,
right. Neutral good, I guess.
Exactly. Well, guys,
we're getting into our nice philosophical and moral discussion towards the end of this drawing.
My bad.
I'm going to leave it there for now on this one because my brain is fried. These ribs These ribs are fighting me, so I'm going to come back to this with fresh eyes. Because I keep getting them kind of where I like them, and then they suck. So I'm gonna just keep fighting away with them tomorrow or the day after, and then once this is done, I will get in touch with you, Remy, and we'll get it posted and get you guys your nice piece of art.
I really appreciate you doing this on your Saturday night. This has been absolutely awesome. It's been great catching up. Enjoy our conversations, definitely. So hopefully we'll get you back here soon rather than later. And best of luck in all your future endeavors. I hope your book keeps coming along nicely and you don't get too swamped with other people's stuff. You can't not work on your own. So again, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. This has been an awesome live drawing with Kevin. And you guys can find Kevin on any social media. Just look up Kevin Keane Illustrator or at Kevin Keane 24 on Twitter. Make sure you guys are shooting him some follows and showing him some love for being here. And I hope you have a blessed weekend, brother. Thank you so much.
Likewise to you too, and to everybody who stopped by and chatted and gave comments and whatnot. I really appreciate it. Feel free to send me a message on Instagram at any time. Anybody looking for art tips or whatnot, or just to chat, I'm always around. Thanks, guys.
Hell yeah. Thanks, guys, and enjoy your weekend. Have a blessed Easter, and we'll catch you guys on next event. Take care.
Rock and roll, boys. Take care.